anything different. Hey guys, welcome to the TED Show. It is May 15th, 2019. It's Wednesday. We're at the Citrus Club. I am with Holly Brinkman and Grums. Look, we're here to talk about some really cool stuff. Pack Animals, Orlando Fringe, thanks to our friend Nicole Dupre, who is right over here to the left. So let us know you can hear us and see us. You're not going to want to miss this show. I know it's kind of on an off time, but it really fits the topic right now. So we're going to go off the beaten path. We're going to hear some music. We're going to listen to them sing or play. We're going to hear their story. So we got some thumbs up already. I'm super excited to have you all on the show, so thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You drove so far, not to just see me, of course. But you're here for Orlando Fringe. So we're going to get to that. We're going to get to Pack Animals. But, you know, everybody's going to want to know your outfits that you have on. That's the best way I can describe it. It's Girl Scouty, brownies. It's so awesome. But tell us a little bit about you.
I'm a physical theater artist from Victoria, BC. I also do a lot of storytelling. I have a one-woman storytelling show that I'm also touring this summer. So I've worked for Fringe festivals for a really long time before a bunch of friends, Fringe artists, were like, "You're so good at public speaking, you have so many interesting stories, you should write a show." And then I was like, "I can't do that, that's terrifying." And then I
and you did it.
I did it. I put my name in and applied for a festival, and then when I got accepted, I was like, "Oh God, now I actually have to write a show." So that's my solo show, is A Woman's Guide to Peeing Outside.
I love to not know. I do no research, so that's awesome. A Woman's Guide to Peeing Outside.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm doing it at 3 different other Fringe festivals. So you can really tour the Fringe. You can start in Orlando and then work your way all the way across
because there's
Canada.
Fringe everywhere. We'll talk about what Fringe means, guys, because we were talking about it earlier. And then Grums, tell us about you.
So I'm a non-binary theater artist, originally from Saskatoon. I did my acting, my BFA, my Bachelor of FL at the University of Saskatchewan. That's in the boring middle part of Canada that everybody flies over. And I'm a clown and a puppeteer and a puppet builder from there. I also do projection design when I'm not doing Fringe. So that's kind of my day job. And Holly and I met at the Montreal Fringe when I was, 2 years ago. I was touring there with a show that we brought to the Orlando Fringe last year called Scum, a Manifesto, about Valerie Solanas, the woman who shot Andy Warhol, and I played Andy Warhol in that show. So I've done that show for the past 3 years, and now we're bringing you something new.
I'm super excited. Yeah. I want, just because people will ask me later, and you brought it, and I want to hear about it. Tell us just a teeny definition of non-binary.
So my working definition is that I don't identify as either male or female. I kind of fall somewhere in the middle. And I've only been out. I only came out about this about a year ago. And I sort of discovered that I felt this way after touring with a children's puppet show. And being able to perform with puppets, you can be all genders, all ages, all species. And I just kind of felt freer to be myself when I wasn't restricted by sort of these gendered rules and responsibilities and roles that we have as women and men. And so I kind of just felt like me and felt freer being, so I use they, them pronouns. And some days I feel more masculine and I'll wear more masculine clothes, but my go-to is kind of like overalls and t-shirts and backpacks. I kind of, the joke is that I dress like a kindergartner on their first day of school. So that's kind of my expression of gender,
I love it. Thank you for sharing that, because I think it's super important for people to kind of understand, because I know I'll get a whole bunch of questions later and I don't want to misrepresent.
And there's lots of info out there on it as well.
Non-binary, guys, so you can look it up later. All right, so tell us how you all decided to come together and work the show and talk about the show.
Well,
because that's a lot, collaborating. If you both have done your own individual stuff, you've written, you've performed individually, and then to come together as a team, that creates
we don't live
in
the same province, so Grums is
Canada's big, guys.
Canada's big. So Grums lives like a 2.5-hour flight from
Or
Victoria.
a 2.5-day drive.
Yeah. So we met at the Montreal Fringe 2 years ago. I was stage managing the After Hours Cabaret, and Grumm's, the Scantily Glad team was on, and they were doing their like little bit, and they misplaced a whole bunch of their costumes. So
I like to say that someone hid them.
somebody misplaced foil.
Allegedly.
So I ended up helping them find their stuff and helping you guys get your bit together, and I thought their bit was so good, and I love Scum.
I took my
It's one of my
pants off,
favorite
it's what I
shows.
do.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Listen, that's okay. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
And then we
I saw Holly's solo show, and in it she talks a lot about being a Cub Scout. And I went up to her after and I was a Girl Guide, but I wasn't any good at it. I had 2 badges. One was for recycling and one was for collecting things. And the
Are those the
collection
2 badges?
was
I'm
recycling.
loving it.
So
Yeah.
the collection was recycling, so it was a twofer.
Yeah.
And so we always joked about writing this sketch show was
Yeah.
the way we pitched it to each other. That was loosely framed around our experiences as a Cub
Yeah.
Scout and a Girl Guide, and how as a Cub Scout, Holly learned all these survival skills, and as a Girl Guide, I learned how to put makeup on or how to cook a meal.
Right.
So you were actually, Holly, a Cub Scout.
I was actually.
Because you're referencing that, but I'm actually thinking you were a Cub Scout.
I was, yeah,
You're
this
not a
is
Girl
my-
Scout, you're not a Brownie, you're a Cub Scout.
Yeah, this is my Cub Scout shirt from when I was a kid. These are all the badges that I actually earned when I was a kid. There's actually more on the back.
Oh my God, you're an overachiever.
Very good Cub Scout.
And we were actually the first Cub troop in Canada to have girls in it. This is all in my solo show, but we were in such a small town that we couldn't have Girl Guides and Cub Scouts. There just weren't enough kids. So we lumped all the girls in with the Cubs, and we would go to these big jamborees, and there'd be all of these like 10, 11, 12-year-old boys there, just like calling us Barbie dolls and making fun of us and telling us we couldn't do anything. And then clearly, like, everybody in my troop had all the badges. Our leader was like a very strong forester, and so we pretty much, with all the competition things, would dominate at the jamborees, and then they'd stop calling us Barbie dolls.
I mean, I love the thought process of what you guys put together, because I think anybody who's been in Cub Scouts, Girl Guides, it's an interesting rite of passage, right? It's like it's like expected almost, and yet I don't see a lot of people who are super thrilled about it.
Yeah.
And so you go through it. So you took your experiences, and then you come up with this show idea.
Yeah.
So talk about the show, which is called Pack Animals, right?
Yeah.
First of all, I love that. I love the name Pack Animals. Come on, guys. I
My
mean, how do
cousin
you not
actually
love
came up
that?
with the name. We like crowdsourced it on Facebook and kind of like gave a little blurb about what it was about, and we were like, we need a title. And my cousin Edith, hey Edie, came up with the Pack Animals name.
Pack Animals is
It's kind of become a bit of a brand.
Yeah,
for us.
the show, like our characters of this overachieving Cub Scout and this Girl Guide, or Girl Scout as you guys call them here, who could care less about their troop, were sort of jumping off points for our characters. And then we wrote, so we have this thing in Canada called Hinterland Who's Who, and there were like these animal PSA things about like, this is the North American beaver and the loon, and all these fun facts about these animals. And so we took those and parodied them by building puppets that represent people that you would date or sleep with.
Largely people that we've dated and
slept
slept
with. Okay.
So for example,
Biography
we
a
have
little bit.
we have the ditch dog, who is sort of that liberal guy who says he's a feminist, but then you take him home and he's not good at
The stuff. Yeah.
At the stuff.
And then like the pound possum and the gravel gopher, and those are like the two dude
The
bros.
pound possum.
Yeah. So the pound possum's kind of a bro.
Yeah.
And he goes to Pound Town and then falls right asleep, and you're like, well, can this guy leave?
I mean,
like,
come on, Pound Town. Oh God, I knew that. Hey, baby, that's my daughter. Hi, Courtney. Yeah, Pound Town. I knew exactly what you meant when you said it. So you're creating all of these based on real people you've encountered.
Yeah.
But how do you pull it all together? How do you pull it all together into a show? And you obviously have a message. What's your message you're trying to get across?
I would say that our message is that not only straight white men do comedy. Our message
fair.
is also that these like very gendered sort of organizations that we're making fun of, Cub Scouts and Girl Guides, are built into them are very gendered spaces.
Yes.
But the people who like exist in those spaces, the people who participate in those troupes, are much more than that. And their stories are much more complicated than that. So it has like a very simplistic, almost like a kids show sort of framework, but we use that very light-hearted, very like goofy, funny puppets and light-hearted framework to say really important things about toxic masculinity and rape culture and gender
and queer love.
And queer love.
I get to sing a little solo about falling in love with a straight girl at camp, because we've all been there. and that like anyone can be who they want to be, and that these organizations, Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts, were really just a device for looking at the way that we raise kids in these two binaries, and giving girls Barbies and boys Tonka trucks sort of thing. So that was a little bit of our jumping off point. But as Holly put it, that femme presenting people and queer people can do and say really raunchy things. I can make a mess on stage. I can be unladylike, which was really freeing after being in an acting training program that sort of told me to sit up straight and be more graceful and be very ladylike and very proper.
Yeah.
And that's not what the show is. Like,
I love that though. I think that I feel like, and I can't wait. I think they're gonna sing a song at some point. But I think that it's so amazing that you're able to do that. That Orlando has a great community for embracing that. We really do. I mean, I think diversity and inclusion are really big in Orlando and Central Florida overall. But a lot of people don't know about Fringe, Orlando Fringe. So before we move a little further, can you tell them a little bit about that? So Orlando Fringe isn't some crazy nightclub, although it could be. It isn't on the outskirts of town, although it could be. Talk to them a little bit about what Fringe does and why it's important in our culture, in the arts community overall, because you do it across the world.
Yeah. My favorite thing about Fringe is that the acts that are here are not curated by a festival that has like a really specific image of what they want to be presenting to the public. All of the acts that are at Fringe are just pulled at random out of a lottery. So we won a lottery spot at the Fringe Festival, and that means that we don't have to try to make our art fit some other festival's message. We can really, so I find the authenticity of a lot of the pieces that you're going to be seeing at all the Fringe festivals, they're really raw, they're really honest, they're often very personal.
And genre, they're boundary pushing.
Yeah. So you've got, at this festival there's movement pieces, there's shadow puppetry, there's musicals, there's scripted plays, there's storytelling, you've got everything. So you can kind of pick and choose. The shows are also mostly an hour long. Some of them are 75 minutes, but so you can see more than one in a night. You can kind of like make a night of it and see two.
It's a real festival, guys. Like it's a place to go, especially if you want to get involved in the arts, and you don't want to go see the 95th installment of the same movie. No offense, God, my Avengers people are going to kill me, but you know what I mean. Like you want to do something different, and we offer that. And so I always want to promote Fringe because I think a lot of people, because they're one of you said intimidated earlier.
Yeah.
They're intimidated.
Yeah, because the program's so thick, there's so many different things to choose from. But really, take a chance on something. It's only an hour.
Take a chance on something, or ask the volunteers, because the volunteers often will see a lot of the shows, and so they can make some recommendations based on the kind of show you're looking for. And like you were saying, this isn't I love Shakespeare, and I'm classically trained, so I'm not going to badmouth Shakespeare, but you can get a lot more about going to a Fringe for a night and seeing 3 very different shows than sitting through 1 4-hour play.
Correct.
So it's a theater festival. It's at Orlando Shakes and all around the Lock Haven Park. There's also a beer tent and an outdoor stage.
My language.
Food trucks.
When does it start?
It starts tonight. There are the first shows. And then it runs until the 27th, so next Sunday. Our first show is on Friday, so we're rapidly getting everything together to prepare for that. Our first show is Friday at 8.
And how your show lasts about an hour?
It's an hour, yeah.
60 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, so talk a little bit about you all. Obviously, there's music involved in some way, shape, or form. Did you all write songs together?
Yeah, so I will come up with a little ukulele melody.
I love a ukulele.
yeah.
Guys, a ukulele.
Grumps is more of a musician than I am. I'm more of like the vocal lyricist.
I'm like, what do we need a lyric for here. And I learned ukulele for this show because we talked about doing shows, and singing in front of people was something that I'm very scared of, and I would often say I would rather be buck naked on stage than sing in front of people.
Which you also
and
do.
I do both.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we wrote songs for this show, and since we premiered the show last year, we have written a Christmas show with 3 other Christmas songs. And
Is it Pack Animals Christmas?
It's like a very campy Christmas.
Very
A very
Christmas.
campy Christmas.
And we
It's a
have
good
2 others, so we have probably 10-ish songs.
And then we wrote 2 more on the drive down. I mean, Grums was like, oh, we might need to make more songs so that we can fill out like a comedy music set. And I was like, there's no way that we're going to be in a car for 9 days and not write new songs.
Right.
Like, that's just no way.
We all are both creatives. I love that.
Yeah.
Your juices are always going.
And I can say, like, having created a solo show as my first ever Fringe show, and now creating a 2-hander and having someone to bounce ideas off of and to make comedy with, it's so much easier when you have the Lennon to your McCartney.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, I'm Lennon.
You're Lennon.
Ooh.
Imagine. All right, so I would love to hear. Tell us about the
Sure.
song that you're gonna sing.
So we'll
at least-
sing in the show. We have a guest male artist every night in the show, and they interrupt the show periodically to mansplain things to us. And so this is one of the mansplain songs.
So this is what he would sing?
No, we'll have just done something, like I'll have made a campfire, and then he'll like interrupt me and say, that's not how you build a campfire. And then to get him off stage, we will sing at him back to his seat and then finish the song to the audience.
Nice. All right, what's the name of this song?
It's called the Mansplain
The
song.
Mansplain. How could it
Doing
not
the
be?
quality one?
Super excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
Equality is a verb, not just for those who wield a dong. So check your privilege before you tell me how I'm doing feminism wrong. You should smile more, resting bitch face. Mansplain to me, mansplain to me, mansplain to me. Gender is a verb, as made up as this silly song. You're a real man, and I'm performing my gender wrong. Think before you speak, think before you speak, think before you open your mouth. Mansplain to me, mansplain to me, mansplain to me. We get it's not all men, but we're just playing devil's advocate. The following women, please tell them how they're doing their jobs wrong. Olympic athletes.
Give us a twirl.
Civil engineers.
Ooh, pink hard hats.
Professional chefs.
She's not our waitress.
Corporate CEOs.
Oh, so bossy.
Single childless women.
Tick, tick, tick.
Stay at home moms.
Where's your ambition?
Oscar winning actors.
Who are you wearing?
Artists of any kind.
It's just a hobby.
Oscar winning actors.
Who are you wearing?
Rocket scientists.
What if she gets her period?
Fighter pilots.
What if she gets her period?
Patty Sheehan.
What if she gets her period?
Any powerful woman.
Probably on her period.
Yeah. Every woman in the world, please tell them how they're existing wrong. I just said that I'm not finished yet. Stop interrupting me. I just said that I'm not finished yet. Stop interrupting me.
Yes. good. I'm sorry, I smiled when you did RBF. I was like, oh God, I smiled. I had to make the face.
Look.
That was so good. You know what? I was listening to some of the words, and I think that all of us can kind of relate. If you can't, you are on the wrong show. But I think it's important for people to understand that it's okay to have those thoughts, right? Because I do. Sometimes I see that you were talking about very gender-specific expectations, kind of like, oh my God, this is what it should be. Oscar-winning actress. What are you wearing? Who are you wearing? And there's so much more than that. So we make everybody one-dimensional.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you're kind of not exploiting that, but you're just bringing it to the forefront. Exploiting could be a good word. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, poking fun at or you know, really showing it for how ludicrous it is. When you put it in a big list like that, and it's just one after the other, you're like, oh, that's actually really silly. It should sound silly because it is silly.
Correct. Oh,
So,
I like that.
yeah.
Yes, it should sound really silly. I have people that come up to me. I'm a straight man, but I dress like crazy, right? So I get a lot of people that are like, oh my God, Ted. I'm like, no, but thank you. But that's how they define me. They look at me and they go, well, who else would wear coral?
Yeah.
Or whatever the color this is. Pink,
Anyone can wear
salmon.
coral.
I know, but it's so, well, you guys know this. People are so one-dimensional in their thought process about how they judge people. It's like this immediate thing. All of a sudden, okay, you wear anything but gray, Ted, you must be gay.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that,
No.
but the thought process of the one-dimensional thought process.
Yeah, and I think that like gender's so performative, and so we have these like gendered costumes that we
Very much
expect
so.
people to wear, and when people are outside of those costumes, then it's like, wow, like there's people
don't
whose brain
understand.
like
They
does
don't.
not compute, but it should be fine. Like it should be, everybody should get to wear whatever they want. One of my like, you know, very young relatives, he's like 5, he loves dresses. They're great. I get it. They're amazing. Like
Very
everybody should be
crazy.
able
Whatever
to just,
you do.
Especially in this heat. Like,
Yeah.
Orlando. Like, okay, I don't know if we're from Canada.
Oh, you must be dying right
and like
now.
our thick maple syrup blood is just boiling.
It's like 900 degrees here right now.
Well,
and
that's
we're in
Fahrenheit.
May.
We don't understand what that is.
You don't, that's right.
It's like in the
Celsius,
30s here.
It is in the
It's in
30s.
the 30s. It's like 35.
All right,
Yeah.
so we're going to share how you can go see their show, Pack Animals, Grums and Holly. You want to go to see their show. You also want to go support Orlando Fringe and everything they're doing. We'll share the schedule, the link, all of that after the show. Any parting words of wisdom, anything you want to share with them before we head out?
Putting you on the spot
Just
first.
I'd like take a chance on. I always say take a chance on something that seems a little bit out there or outside your comfort zone, and just check out a Fringe show. They're really, it's like once you've fringed and had an amazing experience, then you'll like go back the next year and fringe your face off. It can be very addictive.
Yeah.
That's my little warning. That once you've like found a show that totally blew you away, then you might now be booked up for the next 10 days. And just I mean, there's so many people who've traveled a really long ways, and they've traveled here with like really, really high quality stuff. So
Yeah.
Check it out.
My
Go on Friday.
Oh yeah, come see Friday at our
Yes,
opening.
night.
I guess for me, Fringe has been so freeing in terms of like what I can do or say on stage and what I can make as an artist. And creating this show with Holly has been such a gift because I got to come out to my family in the show through this, and a lot of the shows at the Fringe have that same sort of story. They have a lot of heart, they have a lot of truth, and artists being able to be their authentic selves on stage.
Yeah.
Authenticity. Don't you want to be around that? And I want to hear more about it. Like, I love to go. That's why I'm so happy you guys are on here. What a blessing. Thank you, Nicole, by the way, for bringing them, because that's what we want. We want authenticity in our lives. All the rest of that BS that we see all the time, so I don't let any BS on the show. You want that kind of stuff. And look at the talent. They drove all the way from Saskatchewan and London, Ontario to get here. And you can't make that up. That's a drive. So you guys are a blessing. Thank you so much for being on here. Love you, Nicole. Love you both. We'll see you soon. Go out. We'll share the link. Friday night's opening night, right?
At 8:15.
That's 2 nights from now. You want to go. All right. We love you guys. Mwah.
Thank you.
Bye.